method is very important in language teaching methodology. See, my research work, I have done my PhD in applied linguistics, now narrowing down to teaching methodology. So I'm very particular about the methods and the techniques or the strategies that we are devising to deliver a lesson in a fruitful and in a productive manner. Exposition means we give a few hints to the students while presenting a new point or a new chapter to the students, and we make the students think, inference. For example, we are teaching Julius Caesar drama. Now I would like to get your feedback in the chat box. Who wrote Julius Caesar drama? Who is the author? Could you please jot it down in the chat box? William Shakespeare. Thank you so much. Yes, Shakespeare wrote Julius Caesar, which is a very popular drama we know. Is it a tragedy or comedy? Please write it down. William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, is it a tragedy or comedy? Tragedy, of course. Yeah, when we talk about drama, we know there are tragedies, comedies, tragic comedy, comic tragedy, historical plays, geographical plays. Likewise, we can divide them into different categories. And we are talking about Julius Caesar. I'll just give the introduction in the class, like we are going to see the life of Julius Caesar and how his life ended. Now we give them some room to think, how did Julius Caesar meet his end? How his death happened? Was it a murder? Some students might say, yes, it was a murder. And we need to ask, okay, who? Friends or enemies? If they were friends, what made the situation to turn into a different perspective? Suppose you tell that they are enemies. Okay, what was the situation? So likewise, exposition is a very good technique. It's a good technique of giving new info at the initial stage. We will clarify all these things at the end. So that is one of the techniques. Next one is review. This is again a very good methodology. Mental process of going through some, what happened? Slide went off. Okay, review. It's a mental process of going through some material after its initial learning. So initially we learn something. After that, we are going through this material. It's a mental process, reviewing. An intelligent re-examination of something learned before. For what? To enrich the acquisition, to clarify ideas, to reorganize the material, and to register appropriately in the cognitive structure. When we talk about cognitive structure, it's closely related to our memory. And our memory means there are three. Can you see the slide now, or it vanished? It's not there, right? Okay, there is some technical error. I don't know why, what happens. The technical team, please pay attention. Yes, okay, fine. When we are talking about memory, there are three types of memory for adults as well as our students. The first one is sensory memory. The second one is short-term memory. The third one is long-term memory. And from a psychological point of view, when we look at memory, sensory memory, it's the memory that we get through our senses. Memory of something what we saw. Memory of something that I heard. Memory of something I tasted. So we get the feedback through our senses. This is called sensory memory, which is very temporary. It stays for a few seconds, a few minutes, maybe a few hours. After that, it vanishes because we don't give much importance to that. Sometimes the content that we deliver to our students gives only sensory memory to the students. We write down something on the board. From Julius Caesar, I wrote, okay, this person stabbed Julius Caesar. Can you name the person who? Who stabbed Julius Caesar? Please, the name, if you have studied Julius Caesar. Yes, Brutus. Thank you. So that's why a historical quote is there, isn't it? Et tu, brute. Tu in Latin language, it is you. Et tu, brute. You too, Brutus. And you, Brutus. Okay, so this is what he's asking. Yeah, et tu, brute. Correct. You too, Brutus. That means Julius Caesar never expected his best friend will come and stab him to death. So when we have this information, I wrote this name on the board. I did not give an explanation. The student caught the memory through his senses, and there was no explanation from our side. It remains as a sensory memory in the child. Once the class is over, or maybe after 10 minutes, the student forgets. If we ask the student is unable to recollect. So this is the problem of our teaching, number one. Number two, short-term memory. Short-term memory means there is something I wrote on the board. Cassius, Casca, Brutus, this was the team who murdered Julius Caesar. I asked them to repeat these names. I told them, okay, that's fine. You can leave now. The class is over. Tomorrow, if I ask, some of them may reply. After a week also, they may reply to you. But after a month or after a year, it may not stay in their head because whatever you taught got registered in their short-term memory. Now, the third category comes where the best teacher works. That is long-term memory, which is being registered in the mind or the cognitive structure of the student for a long time, sometimes till the end of his or her life. So when we teach something, make sure that we are adopting various strategies of teaching in the online or offline class so that that will be registered in the long-term memory of a student. How will it be possible? We make it possible by engaging them to do something. We taught them. We are asking them, we are giving them a small task. Okay, tomorrow when you come, write the summary of Julius Caesar, how he met with his death, how his life ended. Write a paragraph, write a page. And what happens? The child goes home. The child thinks over that, puts it onto the paper. He reproduces it tomorrow. He reads it out for other students. He presents it. It gets registered in the long-term memory. After a few months, even after a year or years, the child might be able to recollect it. So this is called review and cognitive structure. Next one is group discussion, of course. Yeah, somebody has written role play might also work. Of course, I agree with you. Thank you. I'm coming to that point. Okay, please wait. Yeah, then enacting drama. You are right. I'm coming to that point. Group discussion. What is group discussion? We know an exchange of ideas with all the members of the group. For what? Free interchange of facts, concepts, viewpoints, data, etc. Group discussion is very much important, not only during the school time. You might know nowadays, or even before some years, group discussion is one of the criteria to get selected for high quality courses as well as to MNCs. If you want to get a job in a good institution, after the written exam, there will be GD, that is called a group discussion, and after that there will be a personal interview. Only then the selection procedure will be completed. So group discussion, see, when we talk about, and I'm sorry I have to mention about the national education policy, the new one. We are preparing the students for the jobs that did not exist in the past.
A participant has joined
So
the
when we
meeting.
prepare them for that, what happens? We need to make them skilled in the group discussion. They'll be able to face the harsh realities. And the school should be one of the places where we inculcate this method of group discussion for free interchange of facts, for free concepts, for exchange of viewpoints. Okay, yeah. Then next one is, when we look from the international perspectives, demonstration, oral drill, how should the pronunciation drill start? Pronunciation drill should start from the first one, the whole class drill. For example, you are giving a practice of pronunciation like the word education. We know when a word is pronounced, primary stress will be there, secondary stress will be there on the syllables. So after finding out the syllables in a word, we give the primary stress, especially the word that ends with the TION. The primary stress will be given to the previous syllable. For example, education. There are 4 syllables in this word. So which is the third syllable before TION? Shen. What is the third syllable? Could you please write down? Hello. CA. Thank you. C. Education. How do we find out the syllables? We can just tap and find out. Education. So there are 4, and Shan is the last syllable just before that. That means CA. K. That should be stressed. That means education. Education. When I teach this pronunciation to the students, what should I do? I should give first the whole class drill pronunciation. I ask the whole class to repeat. Next one, group. As a chorus, as a group. After that, individual drill pronunciation. By that time, individual students will learn that. Likewise, there are many different international perspectives I have written. Association. What is association? When you teach a word, associate it with something that the student is familiar with. That way, we can teach the child either pronunciation or the meaning or its construction, how that word was made. So lexis is important, morphology. All these things are important. If you are English teachers, we need to know the basic concepts in language. So likewise, these are some of the methods. Now I'm coming to teaching strategy number 1. Very important part we are entering into. Teaching strategy number 1. Language scaffolding. We know what is scaffolding. What's the meaning of the word scaffolding? Can anybody write down in the chat box? Please be quick. What do you mean by scaffolding? The literal meaning of scaffolding. building up, supporting, 10, okay, okay, framework, okay, good. So here language scaffolding, what is the meaning? This strategy is a step-by-step process of building students' ability to complete tasks on their own. For example, we are English teachers. When we do a writing task, what is more important, whether it is process or product? Could you please mention in the chat box? What's more important in writing a paragraph? Process or product? Process. Thank you. Yes. Process writing. The process of writing is very important. So when we teach them, we should help them to build it up from the base, step by step. What should be the opening sentence? What should be the key sentence? How should we develop it? How many parts are there for an essay or paragraph? What is the methodology system that we'll be using? So, yes, correct. You have written process of writing. It's very important how the child progresses. Scaffolding can be used through modeling academic language, visuals, graphic organizers, demonstrations, and hands-on learning activities. So we have different methods for that. I need to model academic language. I need to show them something. I need to have some graphic organizers or demonstrations. Finally, I get into hands-on learning activities. Yes, introduction, body, conclusion. This is the basic thing what we will be doing. Basic thing. We will tell the students there should be an introductory sentence or introductory paragraph. Body should be there, conclusion should be there. So one is language scaffolding. We should do it step by step. This is one teaching strategy. Number two, cooperative learning. Otherwise, we call it as CLL, cooperative language learning. This is very much effective in teaching English. Cooperative learning is otherwise known as small group learning. What happens? What is cooperative learning? It's not a group work, but we engage every English language learner in the activities that promote positive interactions as well as opportunities to speak and contribute their own ideas. Yes, correct. Exchange of ideas, micro learning, peer learning, learning together. Thank you. Very good, Chief. Very good responses from you. And how can we do that? Cooperative learning activities need to be well organized and the students' focus should remain on the task at hand. For example, we have got 30 students. We are distributing the students into 5 groups of 6 students each. So 5 multiplied by 6, 30. What will we do? We will ask them to work in the group. We will make sure that every student will take part in the task. So individual accountability is there because every individual will answer the question. After that, group accountability is there because the group will work on it. This will be more workable when we have offline class. Even in online class also, we can create groups and we can tell them to work in a group. Okay, then very important thing is positive interaction. Another one, the virtue of social skills. One person will be breakout rooms can be created. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Like Microsoft Teams or WebEx and all, we can create breakout rooms where we can assign 6 students in one room, another 6 in the another room, and the person, the host or the person who does it can monitor this work from the master window. He can monitor them. It's a great option. So cooperative learning is highly effective. Another one is total physical response. Total physical response is otherwise known as TPR. What is TPR? It's purely a language teaching method. Very important. TPR, I don't know how many of you have heard of TPR, Total Physical Response, which was developed in 1960s by James Asher. It's a language teaching method developed by James Asher. Who was he? He was a professor emeritus, means a retired professor of psychology. And in TPR, what happens? The instructors give commands to students in the target language with body movements, and students respond with the whole body actions. This is very much good in KG classes, primary classes, even in secondary also there is nothing wrong. Gestures, what will they do? For example, the teacher will ask the students, okay, stand up. The students, the children of KG, they don't understand what's the meaning of stand up. But TPR means the body will respond physically when they hear a set of instructions. James Asher, who was a psychologist and educationist as well, told that TPR builds on the relationship between language and the physical representation of meaning. When the teacher says stand up, the children, their body responds. They will immediately communicate. They will immediately get up. Suppose the teacher is showing like this. Children will understand. They have to sit down. The teacher will tell, yes, open your books, read, write. So sometimes what happens is we can reduce TTT. What is TTT? Could you please jot down in the chat box? What do you mean by TTT? Communication through gestures? No, TTT. What's the full form of that? Very important in teaching methodology. Teacher talking time. Teacher talking time. 40 minutes period should not be a period in which the teacher is talking. This is an online session, so I don't have any other alternative. That's why I'm talking to you. Still, I'm trying to keep you in chat box so that there will be proper interaction. So TTT means teacher talking time. It has to be reduced. And STT has to be increased. Student talking time has to be increased. That is called TTT. So when the teacher reduces teacher talking time and communicates through gestures, gives instructions, the children will understand, their body will respond. A TPR lesson has a detailed series of consecutive actions accompanied by a series of instructions given by the teacher. Students use their bodies to act out the meaning of words, and this helps ELL to understand the concepts of languages. Then another one is native language support, teaching strategy number 4. See, may I tell you, sometimes we are very much doubtful in an English language class or English literature class. Can we use our mother tongue? Whether it is Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada and all, can we use our mother tongue? As an experienced teacher, or from my personal experience, I would like to say that there is nothing wrong if you are using Malayalam in some of the unavoidable situations. Or if you are using Hindi, if that's your mother tongue, there is nothing wrong if you use Hindi wherever it is very much required. Do you agree with me that, yes, we can use our mother tongue wherever it is required, our native language? Do you agree with me? Sometimes, yes. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, sometimes it will produce very positive effect, because to explain a word, we might be struggling a lot to give its meaning in different definitions and all. Whereas sometimes if we give the exact meaning in the native language, in our mother tongue, that will be more than enough. Children will immediately catch that and they will never forget. So, whenever possible, English language learners should be provided with academic support in their native language. There is nothing wrong. Even the new national education policy supports the idea of our mother tongue or regional language. Lesson plans organized around cultural content can help other students understand cultural diversity. Suppose we are having student exchange program. When we are preparing our lesson plan, if we are including something from our culture and traditions, it will be very good. Somebody has written using bilingual language while teaching early stage is very good. Yes, I do agree with that. So there are many advantages for that. We don't tell that the whole English language class should be taught in our regional language, only if it is required in unavoidable situation. Next one is very important, accessing prior knowledge. When we teach something to the students, we should make sure that whether the students are having sufficient prior knowledge. And if they have sufficient prior knowledge, we should activate the prior knowledge. In teaching methodology, we tell activate schema or schemata. When I am talking about William Shakespeare's dramas, suppose I directly enter into Julius Caesar, I should make sure at least the children, whether they know about Julius Caesar or Shakespeare. Yes, I do agree with what you have written. Bilingual teaching may hamper learning of English. Yes, it may hamper multilingual teaching in multicultural situations. I did not tell that we should take the help of regional language or native language while teaching English. I did not tell. What I am telling is, under unavoidable situations, if the teacher is struggling too much to explain the meaning of a word and the students are unable to get it from your mouth, under those situations, there is nothing wrong if we can give the regional language or native language word. That's what I meant. Only at times it becomes a necessity. Correct. Now, activating prior knowledge. For example, I'm going to talk about Julius Caesar's drama. I should make sure that my students have the prior knowledge of who Julius Caesar was. I should make sure that they have got sufficient background knowledge about William Shakespeare. If they don't have, I should use it. I should activate their prior knowledge. Only then they'll be able to use their prior knowledge for the topic that you are teaching. Teachers can use the semantic webs to create a visual that shows the topic in the center and ask students what they already know about in order to help them contextualize more information. What is semantic web? This is again a very good method. Web means a circle, then we can draw arrows from that one like a sun. Write down the center topic in the middle. Then write down what are the words related to that. Yes, we can even talk to the students about style of Shakespeare and the major works. The sixth teaching strategy is very important. That is called the dialogue journals. So coming towards teaching strategy, then there are some more points to discuss with you. This strategy is a way for teachers to engage students in writing and evaluate language comprehension. Journal writing, what is the benefit? It provides students with an open-ended dialogue with the teacher, and that is completely confidential and non-threatening. Teachers have the opportunity to model correct language and students benefit from by gaining fluency in English. So dialogue journal means the student can express their opinion in an open-ended dialogue with the teacher, and the teacher can engage the students in writing later to evaluate language comprehension. So dialogue journal, we can say that it consists of 2 points, 2 actions from their side. Number one, dialogue with the teacher, with an open-ended dialogue and a conversation between those two. Number two, journals. It's a process of writing to evaluate the linguistic talent of a child. What are the other teaching strategies that are helpful for English language learner or teacher? Teachers can use schema building, I already told, activating prior knowledge. A speech, giving clear directions verbally and visually, and holding high expectations for the ELL. What is ELL? Could you please write down what is ELL? What do you mean by ELL? Please. English language learners, correct. English language learners. Okay, thank you. Assigning the English language learner to a peer who has bilingual proficiency to help increase competency. Sometimes what happens when a conversation is being conducted by the teacher, we can give a peer, means another student to this student. We can make them pairs, so that, and especially one student, if he is having some kind of bilingual proficiency, it will be very good. Reduce the cognition level of ELL students by taking into account the capabilities of the student who might now have had any prior schooling. Reduce the language load by rewriting difficult text into simpler terms. These are some of the strategies. Now, assessment and testing for the English language learner. It's essential for teachers to continually monitor the English language learners' progress. When you are teaching a language, we should make sure that our students are doing or they are making progress. And for that, formal and informal assessments are necessary. Very important, especially when we are doing online classes. And the parents might be coming to you now, even now, the parents might be talking to you. My child is not talking. My child is playing online games. My child is getting distracted during the class. What should I do? Teacher, ma'am, sir, tell me. While assessing the English language learner, vary the levels of the questions being asked so you can see how far the student has come along in language comprehension. We should never repeat the same question to everyone. Change the style of the questions. Change the level of the question. The teacher should know how to grade the standard, the level of English. We should not make the questions too simple. And for that, we need to know our students. Please look at this cartoon. What happens? Please look. Now, please tell me, what do you see? Engage them in activities which compels to keep their videos on and involved in class activities. Okay, thank you. I agree with you. Can you write in one sentence or 2-3 words? What do you see in this picture? Children are disinterested. They are not interested. Okay. They are not interested. No student involvement. Very good. Teacher talking time is more, I feel, correct? Not paying attention. Children are passive. They are not listening. Class is monotonous. Children-driven class, teacher-driven class, not motivated, monotonous, passive, no interaction, boring, not interested, inactive class. Yes, children are getting bored. They are not interested, self-centered, teacher-centered class, no eye contact, students feel sleepy, boring class, teacher-centered approach, distracted, no way to teach, English language learners just not interested. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. No communication. Now it's a moment of retrospection. Look back to our class. If you are teaching, how did we teach today? Was my class interesting? Whether my students were interested in my class, whether they were sleepy, I found the class was very passive. There was no active interaction from the students. If our answer is yes, think of the reason how and why. Why was my class not interesting? Was it a teacher-centered class? I was talking all the time. I never entertained the answers from the students. Please, attendance link is not to be requested. It will come. It will be posted in the chat box by the officials. Please pay attention to this. We are coming to the close. Within 10 minutes, we'll be winding up. Okay. So I know you are as excited as I am about today's lesson. The teacher is telling that, but see, there is no eye contact. Teacher has scribbled this and that on the board, and students are least interested in the class. They are sleeping. If this is happening in our class, now tell me, how will the students learn? How can we expect good performance from them? And you see, this is a very good quote. He told, high performance is never an accident. High performance is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, careful planning, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. The last sentence is very important. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. The success of our class depends upon the wise choice of many strategies. The success of my class depends upon the right selection of teaching methodology. Giving incentive like just a minute activity at the end. Yes, of course. Dramatization, inclusive approach. Yes, we need to learn how to include everyone. Activating prior knowledge. Why? Because it's the most important single factor influencing learning is what the learner already knows. Framing the learning for all students. Let the students know verbally when we teach something. Let me tell you something very interesting from my personal experience. See, you might have studied. I also have studied in mathematics. Maybe class 8th, 9th, and 10th. Theta, gamma, alpha, and all, cos theta, tan theta, cot theta, and all. Have you studied that? Cot theta, tan theta, cos theta, and all? Yes, you have studied. I also have studied. Till today, I don't know, to be very frank with you, why I learned it, why my teachers taught it. Trigonometry. I never used it in my life. My teachers never told me why you should learn it, how you should learn it. Until now, I don't know. Yes, you are also telling in the chat box. True, me too, I also don't know. Now, the relevance of these questions, what I have given on the slide. Let the students know verbally what they will be learning using kid-friendly objectives, why they are learning it, how they will learn it, how they will know they know it, how you will know they know it. Very important slide. When we teach something, tell the children, yes, the relevance is what to not study in future and what to study in future. Correct? Correct. What happens before we teach something? For example, we are teaching them uh, about use of articles, a, an, or the. When we teach them, we should tell them first at the beginning of the class lesson. We will tell, today we are going to learn these things. Why they are learning? We should tell them, you need to learn it because to use proper grammatical sentence, you need to know whether a or an or the should be used before a noun. Whether it is an apple or a apple. Whether it is the third or a third. When to use. Next one, how they will learn it. I need to tell the children that yes, how they will learn it? Through practice, through some worksheet, through some exercise, through some conversation. How they will know? They know it because when they make the construction of the sentence, whether they are able to use the exact article, the correct and appropriate article in the sentence construction. They need to check. How they will know? They know it. Last sentence is related to the assessment or evaluation of my class. As a teacher, my dear educationists, my dear friends, if we don't assess our learning, it's a waste. We conduct evaluation in the class or in our school for two purposes. Number one, to understand students' learning. Number two, to assess the quality of my teaching. If the students are able to answer the questions, that means my teaching was very effective. If you find that most of the students are unable to answer your questions, there is something wrong, my dear friends. We need to revisit the methodology of our teaching. So how will you know they know it? Through assessments during the class, through assessment during worksheets, through minor changes, minor exercises through Google Form. That is how we will know that the students know what we taught. I'm going to conclude in 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes, but very important portion we are going through. Pyramid of learning. These are some of the activities that we can do. Reading, hearing, seeing, hearing and seeing, discuss with others, talk or write, or do or apply. And every activity has got its own importance in the teaching learning process. Reading. What is the percentage of learning the student acquires by reading the text? By hearing something, that means the audio methodology, what is the percentage a student grabs? By seeing the visual methods, how effective it is. And if hearing and seeing together, what's the percentage? Can we discuss with others? And by discussion, group discussion, how far are we able to achieve? I'll show you the data. 1 second. By the data that the educational researchers conducted a study, I'll show you how effective it is. If it's only reading you are doing as a teacher in the class, 10% will be the grasping or the learning content by the student, my dear. If you are speaking also, hearing, that means audio is there, 20% of learning is done. And if they see something that you are teaching, that means you are writing on the board and showing them. You are using realia. You are using graph or chart. You are using posters. So 30%. If you are using both hearing and seeing, you are explaining something with the help of some teaching aids, visual aids. For visual aids, for English teachers, we have got two methods. Number one, FCs. FC means, what is FC? What cards? Flashcards. FC means flashcards. We write a word on a strip of chart paper, show it to the student. This is called flashcard. Show it to them once, just hide it, ask them to repeat the word. This will increase the memory. I told from sensory memory, it should move to short-term memory, from short-term memory to long-term memory. This is my field, applied psychology. That's why I'm telling you, we have many methods to reiterate what we are teaching in the class. It should never remain in the sensory memory of an individual. It will vanish. Then discuss with others where the group learning is there. 70% of learning takes place. And when we ask them to do something, 90% is successful. Coming to 2 points. 10-2 theory. What is 10-2? 10 minutes, 2 minutes. 10 minutes of instruction with 2 minutes to process. The whole process takes 2 minutes, but it will be 10 minutes of instruction. If you take 12 minutes and teach some topic, that's more than enough for that topic. Because longer sessions will be boring. I'll tell you the reason why. Another method is, for example, we are having 40 or 45 minutes class. After 37 minutes or 40 minutes, the child should get up or the teacher should get up from there for 90 seconds, at least for 3 minutes. The teacher or the child needs to move. Physical movement is required for better learning. The cognitive structure should work properly if it's getting proper rest. Next one, create lots of starts and stops. We introduce one topic, after 10 minutes, stop that. Tell them, I'm going to talk to you about smaller amounts of material. They'll listen to you. Introduce next one, chunk, short and crisp. See the last sentence that I have written in red. Research shows that people remember the first 3 to 5 minutes of what they hear and the last 3 to 5 minutes of what they hear. If that is the case, if you are giving your sessions for 10 minutes at a stretch, the first 3 to 5 minutes, last 3 to 5 minutes means the whole 10 minutes you will attract their attention. I'm telling you from my own personal experience of past 27, 28 years. It will be successful. Whereas if you are going to teach them for 40 minutes continuously without any stop or start, it will be a failure, utter failure. There will be exceptions. If you are an excellent teacher, it may not happen. But generally, this is something general. Then think, pair, share. What is think, pair, share? You ask the children to think, tell them to make pairs, let them share their ideas, ask some of them to stand up in the class and speak it out. This is called think, pair, share. Guided student practice. This is very important in the learning sequence. What is that? I do means the teacher will model. We do whole class practice with the teacher. Next one, you all do. That means only the students will do it as a group, small groups. Next one, independent practice, you individual do. Yes, okay. Now we are coming to the last one. What it is now. When we check the understanding of all students, never ask these questions. What is the danger hidden in these? Tell me. Are there any questions? What will be your answer? Please tell me in the chat box. If I am asking, are there any questions? What will be the usual answer from the students? No, correct. So is it a good question to check the students' understanding? It's not a good question. Suppose I am asking, are you all with me? What will be the normal answer? Yes, you will tell yes. The students will tell yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. This is an adverb, isn't it? Students will tell yes, sir. So it doesn't give you a clear picture about a comprehension. Now, how will you check the understanding? These are the methods. You can note it down, and I'm not going to explain it due to shortage of time, but you can refer it in Google. And if you have any doubt, you can get back to me. I'll be very happy to explain. Think, pair, share, whip around, craft sticks, and learning partners, pair, share, squared, quick writes. These are some of the techniques to evaluate the students' understanding, to check students' understanding. See, quick write, what is that? Take 2 minutes to answer the following question. At the end of the class, you will ask, what did you understand? Quickly write. They can write it down and give it to you. You can take it and read it easily. Then, next one is preventing students' misconceptions. Students do not come to school as blank slates. They know many things. We need to reactivate their prior knowledge. Anticipate that there will be confusions, and we should be ready to answer their questions. What is anticipation guide? For example, you are going to, this is practically, I am telling, you are going to teach them one reading passage. Make some 5 to 10 sentences maximum, or 5 to 6 sentences would be enough. Make sentences, give it to the students, tell them to write yes or no before teaching that. This is called the method of inference. Let them infer. Let them keep that paper with them. After reading or after teaching, tell them to answer it again, whether it is yes or no. Then in the next column, they will write it yes or no, true, false. And there we will understand how was the student's prior knowledge and after learning. So these are some of the methods that we have teaching English for young learners. When we teach them, we need to understand that we need to have some good strategies, and every day we cannot employ the same strategies to teach our young learners. We need to devise various methods, various methodology, because the strategies that we adopt for teaching drama will not be the same for a poem and will not be the same for a fiction. For example, when you teach, I'm concluding the last 1 minute. When we teach a drama, we need to act it out. For example, when I teach, I used to do that. For example, see, there is a beautiful drama I've taught them, is Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. And the very famous quote, I used to act it in the class. It goes, when the student is coming, no, when the student is, no, sorry, when Helen, the most beautiful lady, is coming. So Dr. Faustus is telling, what is the face? What is the face that burned 1,000 ships? Or the poems? No, what is the face that launched 1,000 ships and burned the topless towers of Ilium? That is a sentence, that is a quote. So when we teach, if we tell them, yes, it will be good. So this is the time, and we are winding up. It's time to stop. Thank you so much for your quick responses. I wind it up.